What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Sheehan Show with me, Sean Sheehan, here on Sherdog.com. I'm back with my top 5 bets for the week in the world of mixed martial arts. Before I get to those, let's look back at last week. And we actually had 10 bets last week. We had a few kind of half flyers. What I've done is I've thrown in 4 flyers and 6 bets from last week. So what we did is we went 2 and 6 on the bets, not amazing, but we went 2 and 4 on the flyers, which is pretty good. So the bets that did hit were Corey Anderson at plus 140 in Bellator and AJ McKee at minus 215 in Bellator. The ones that didn't hit in Bellator was I had a quadruple of Malamba, Babli, Decheva and Eblin. 2 of them didn't hit, so not amazing. And then Michael Grogu as well. That was one of the flyers. Poirier didn't win, didn't hit. Kopylov didn't win, didn't hit. And Zellhuber didn't win, didn't hit. But the flyers were pretty good. As I said, the Grogu one didn't hit a plus 300. But Jaffe Hulton did win. That was why a disqualification. But a win is a win. I just had him straight up plus 350. So that was a really good price. Holland, I had him via submission, plus 300. That didn't hit. But we did have Pitbull by decision at plus 305, which hit as well. So a plus 350 bet, a plus 305 bet. All into 1 week with a minus 215, with a plus 140 bet. I think we'll all take that for last week. So good stuff there. The overall record, 59 from 113 bets, which is not bad. We're above the 50%. And we've now hit 4 flyers for the year from 26. But still, I'm notoriously bad with my flyers, but there you go. Let's get to this week and let's get straight to the bets. First bet I'm going for the main event, and I'm going for Robert Whittaker. He's minus 152, and it's a bit of a leap of faith for me, to be honest. Actually, he's in a bit now. He's actually minus 147 as I look at it right now with the odds updating as we speak. Listen, I asked myself during the week, who was like, or at the start of the week, who was I going to pick? What was my pick going to be? Was it going to be the guy who's in form and Rainier the Ritter, who has beaten Bo Nickel, Kevin Holland, Jared Mearshart since coming into the UFC, the guy who I watched so many times in one championship and obviously covered a lot of his fights here that I knew the quality of, but that hadn't really fought the level, right? But again, knew the quality of at 34 years of age. Or are you going to pick Robert Whittaker, again, 34 years of age, who has been there and done that and beaten like some of the best guys in the world over the last few years, from Jacare back in 2017 and Yoel Romero and Brunson before that, to Gastelum, Cannonier, Vittori, Costa, Ali Askarov. Now he's obviously been in there with Adesanya and lost, and Duplessis and lost, and Chimaev and lost. But at the same time, we all know how good Robert Whittaker is. I know how good, and a lot of people listen to this know how good the Ritter is as well. But there's a decision there to be made, and that's why the price is close. And the biggest reason for me to pick against Whittaker, and I'll get to why I picked him in a second, is because of that last fight. It's because of what Chimaev did to him physically, more than technically or anything. Look, Chimaev is the best in the world. We all know that. He's going to win the title here in a few weeks' time. I'd be shocked if he didn't. But the physical, like, it's written down here, sort of like face crank. That was more of like a face break than a face crank. He destroyed him. He destroyed his face. And if that's your reasoning and you think the Ritter can maybe put him in a similar position and sub him as well, I wouldn't disagree with it. And I thought about doing that myself. But I'm taking the bigger picture, the overall picture. Like, Robert Whittaker fought 3 times last year and he won twice. You know, this is not a guy who's beaten or towards the end of his career. No, maybe he is towards the end of his career, but he isn't done. Let's put it that way. And I think if Whittaker can put on a performance like he used to, where those Yoel Romero fights to me are the quintessential Robert Whittaker fights, where he breaks your rhythm, where he runs the fight with his tactics, know-how, and in physical ability after it and technical ability after it. I think for a guy like the Ritter, if you have a game plan like that and you're good enough, you're athletic enough and all of that, he can be beaten. Like, he can be beaten. Bo Nickel just wasn't able for it. He wasn't there yet. The Ritter had more know-how and beat him. Like, the Ritter beat him with know-how. you won't beat Robert Whittaker with no. Right? You might beat him if you go toe-to-toe with him and win a physical game or get him and submit him, absolutely. But he's not going to do it the same way he did it last time out. And that's not the reason I'm picking Whittaker. But the reason I am picking Whittaker is because I think he's a better fighter than the Ritter all around, or at least has been. And I'm betting on him to keep that up and reproduce it and do it again. So that's bet number 1 for this week. Bet number 2, honestly, is a similar one, and I'm going for Petr Yan by decision at -143. Now, honestly, I was either going to do 2 things in this fight: avoid it because Yan is -355, or give you Marcus McGee either straight up or via knockout. He's plus 300 straight up, but I've gone for Yan by decision, and there's 2 reasons for that, right? I'll be honest, Marcus McGee, I've watched him fight and I've been impressed with him, but he's one of those guys where, like, okay, this guy is about to break into the top 15. We're going to have, 4 or 5 more fights of his before we'll have to go on an extra special run before we talk about him against the Yan or against the top. But that it's come around quicker. So I watched him this week as a title contender, as one of the best fighters in the world. And you know what? He's really good. Honestly, I thought about picking him to beat Yan. I really, really did. But do you know one thing that massively put me off here? When I clicked on Sherdog and I looked at him and go 10-1, great record, watched a couple of his fights, and then I saw 35 years of age. Do you know? And he's 3 years older than Petr Yan. And I don't know, I'm sure, people smarter than me know why that the case is, but he's only been a pro since 2020. Which is kind of mad. And I was thinking about, would I pick him, or why would I pick him? And I don't know why. Maybe I'm wrong. It just kind of put me off a little bit. It put me like there must be a reason. there must be a reason why he's 35 years of age, and now is time. And also, I think and this is the real reasoning, right? Now, they're pushing him into this position because he's 35 years of age. Like, that happens. As my friend Richard Kiley, because he was a little bit older, they pushed him in against MVP. Tough. But I actually think Marcus McGee has a great chance of winning this fight. The reason why I'm going for Yan, via decision, I think, again, the wherewithal, the smarts, I think he'll be able to get through rounds. I think there'll be rounds where McGee would normally win by landing a big shot and hurting someone, that Yan will roll with those punches. McGee will... Not that he'll panic, but he'll be like, oh no, those punches have landed for me before and they've gotten me to finish, and now that's not happening. And when that happens at a fight, you kind of, something goes in the back of your head. They're like, oh God, I'm fighting another level. And I think that's what's going to happen here. I think if Yan wins the first round, especially, if he wins the first round, especially, it's going to be real tough. If he wins the second round after losing the first round and turned it around, I think it's going to be, again, even more especially tough. I like the end decision here. I do. I wouldn't at all rule out Marcus McGee. If I woke up on Sunday morning and saw that Marcus McGee had beaten Petr Yan, would I be shocked? Even at a big price? I wouldn't. But I'm going for Yan. I'm going for the decision. And it is -143. A similar sort of price for the next one. I promise the price will get bigger after this one. I'm going for Sharabutdin Magomedov by a knockout at -152. This is your old-fashioned guy loses once, he's written off as useless, and you get him at a bit of a better price against the guy who maybe he shouldn't be that price against. Now, at the same time, he is a -600 favourite to win the fight, but you look at Shara's record, won 15 times, 12 of them via knockout. When he wins, he knocks people out. So if you're backing him to win, back him to win via knockout, and you get -152. That's about as simple a betting advice as I could give someone. Now, again, it might not always be right. At the other side of it, Barry Alt, he's lost 9 times. Okay, he hasn't been knocked out in all of them, but he has been knocked out 3 times in his career. 2 of his last 3 fights, he's been knocked out. Joe Pyfer and Dustin Stoffels. Pyfer, a good fighter, big power guy. Stoffels, a good fighter as well, but not an amazing fighter. And if he's getting knocked out by him, I think Shara will fancy his chances as well. Honestly, I don't really see... Look, what did I say it was again? Minus 600 nearly, minus 596. I'm just looking at him here. Sharabutdin, I think that's about right. I don't see anything with Barriault at 35 years of age again against a 31-year-old in Sharabutdin Magomedov that's going to cause him much trouble. Like, is the wrestling going to cause him trouble? Is the power might? The power might, but like Shara lost MVP last time on. I don't think people understand how good MVP is. MVP is a world-class striker. He's an amazing, amazing fighter. Barriault is not that. I think Barriault will try his best, will land some big shots, but I think Shara's probably, like, I look at this like the Petrosian fight a little bit. Actually, I think I have a soft spot for Petrosian. I really like him as a fighter, and I think he's a better fighter as well than the Barriault. I think he's going to go around and a half. This is going to be second, third round finish, in my opinion. That's what I think what's going to happen here, and the knockout is the more than likely outcome as well. So Sharabutdin via knockout minus 152. The next one I'm going for, I'm just going for the straight up price in this one. I'm going for Bogdan Guskov at plus 152 to beat Nikita Krylov. Honestly, and I've done this in the last one. I'm picking the power here. Guskov at 32 years of age for light heavyweight is a good age. You know, Nikita Krylov isn't much older, but he's 40 fights in his career versus the 20, literally half the fights of his opponent. And the thing about Krylov is as well, you know, he came out in his last fight against Reyes, got destroyed in half a round, hasn't fought since 2023 before that. You know, he hasn't won a fight since then, obviously. I just wonder, and, you know, obviously the Ukraine-Russia war, he was out fighting in that, and at one stage was missing, apparently, and all of that. So, like, how much has he been putting into it? How much has he been training? How good is he compared to what he used to be? I would be very, very skeptical on that. Now, again, a guy who's been knocked out a couple of times, last time out knocked out, it was only in April as well. So what's that, a 4 or 5 month turnaround from a heavy knockout like that? The way Guskov hits 17 wins, 14 knockouts. Again, has he beaten this level of fighter? No, you know, lost to Volkan Ozdemir in the UFC, but that was in the middle of what was it? 8 of his 9. He's won 8 of his last 9 fights. Won via submission again last time, but all those other ones were all via knockout. So, you know, knocked out Ryan Spann, Zach Poy again, and others as well. And those were in the UFC. Last 4 in the UFC, 3 knockouts, and the last Ozdemir coming in. I believe that was short notice, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. Like, if you were to give me the best Krylov against the best Guskov, a little bit like the Whittaker one, I'd pick Krylov. Do I think the best Krylov is still around? I don't, look, I don't know. But I don't think so. And I do. Guskov is one of those guys I have a bit of a soft spot for. He's well able to land big shots. And if he lands a big shot here after his opponent has got knocked out not too long ago, you know, that plus, let me see what it was again, plus 152. Let me just get you the updated price on that. Plus 153, so similar. No, that turns into a good price for me. So those are the first 4 bets. And I'm going to give you a guy I've given you before who's been successful as the Flier of the week. This is a straight up price here. Plus 158 for Muslim Salikhov in his fight with Carlos Leal. Now, I've covered a lot of Carlos Leal over the years, obviously fighting in PFL for years, you know, been in there with some very good guys. And he's a good guy himself. He's a good fighter. Good technical fighter, you know, lots of fought to a decision 12 times in his career, you know, 7-5 in those, and, you know, has never been knocked out himself, has 11 knockouts. But I'll tell you what, Salikhov at 41 years of age, I picked him, I believe, via knockout in the Song Kenan fight, and we won that day. And we was that was last year. I think that was one of the Flyers I hit at the end of last year. I just have a feeling that Carlos Leal, let me just look here. The first fight he came into the UFC against Fakhretdinov, he got caught a lot in that, and he survived and went to a decision. And I do like Fakhretdinov, but Like Salikhov is one of those guys that he is just, he's going to catch you in fights. And I'll tell you why I think Salikhov will win this fight. I think he has the ability to catch someone and knock them out. Now, again, Leal never knocked out. But what Leal has is a lot of decisions, a lot of close decisions. And when a guy hits very hard like Salikhov does, that's how you win rounds. That is how you win rounds in MMA. And again, look, Leal is the favorite and all that. But I love the price on Salikhov. I think it's a really good price for a guy who hits harder than his opponent, who stays in fights as well. You know, he's only lost 5 times in his career, 41 years of age. Always has that knockout threat. Got a knockout in his last fight, as I said. I'm taking Salikhov here as the Flier of the week. So just to recap those bets, I'm going for Whittaker, a minus 147. The snooker bet. I'm going for Petr Yan at minus 143 via decision. I'm going for Magomedov via KO at minus 152, plus 152 then for Bogdan Guskov. And the Flier of the week is Muslim Salikhov at plus 358. Let me know in the comment section below your bet for the week. Please bet responsibly. And until next week, my name is Sheehan for Sherdog.com, and I'll see you all next time.